Coming up on NTC News, a family talks to us as they mourn the senseless death of an NIU student killed in a fiery car crash. Also, we'll have the latest on the Las Vegas massacre. And we'll speak to a campus security expert about the safety during homecoming events. NTC News starts now.
You're watching NTC News, DeKalb County's only television news source, on the campus of Northern Illinois University and from the Northern Television Center. This is NTC News Tonight.
A devastating tragedy hits close to home. Hello, I'm David Sivia. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Katie Smith. It's Thursday, October 5th.
The family of an NIU student is laying to rest the child they were hoping to one day see graduate. Erica Villagomez was killed by a reckless driver over the weekend. Police say Villagomez was driving down Butterfield Road when she was struck from behind by a 62-year-old man, Brian Thunderkick, who was driving more than 135 miles an hour. The car was engulfed in flames, and despite efforts of civilians, Erica died on the scene. Thunderkick was later charged with reckless driving homicide. Erica was pursuing a double major in accounting and computer science. She was scheduled to graduate this spring.
NTC reporter Jesse Schlax and producer Marlene Winces were invited to the family's home last night. Jesse joins us now. Hi, Jesse.
Hi, thanks guys. It was a tough conversation last night, and the family says they're relying on each other in such a tragic time. Her brother Alberto talked of her legacy and of the hardships yet to come. The Villagomez family is still processing the sudden death of the eldest daughter.
I didn't know how to react. I was just shocked for the longest, and then I grieved. And I grieved for a long time, for the first couple of days. But then eventually I accepted that my sister's gone. And
Alberto Villagomez is Erica's 19-year-old brother. He says up to 200 people visit their home daily to give support. Alberto says he looked up to Erica as a role model.
Erica, she was unique. She was smart. She was so smart. She was kind, respectful.
Loved ones gathered earlier this week for a candlelight vigil to remember good times.
She was a very strong person. She was always trying to make everybody happy.
Alberto says he wants justice for his sister's death.
Why? You're old. Like, should have known better. Why were you going that fast on the street like that? Like, just because if you don't have a big sister anymore.
Services honoring Erica are being held today. The Mass was at 11 a.m. at the St. Joseph Catholic Church of Elgin. The wake is from 3 to 8 at the Waite Ross Allenson Funeral Home in Elgin. The family will be flying back to Mexico tomorrow to lay her to rest.
The Las Vegas gunman Stephen Paddock reportedly booked rooms at a Chicago hotel across from Grant Park for Lollapalooza weekend. Paddock shot and killed 59 people and wounded hundreds during a country music festival in Las Vegas on Sunday. Police say he fired an automatic weapon at concertgoers from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino before killing himself. Reports came out today that Paddock had booked one room at the Blackstone Hotel for August 1st and another room for August 3rd. Both rooms had clear views of concert stages and had been checked out date of August 6th, the last day of the festival.
Large crowds at events like the one in Vegas and even closer to home, like homecomings, has some people worried about security. Austin Hansen joins us now with more on that. Austin?
Joining me now is Deputy Chief Jason John. Hi, Officer John. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Great, great. So, in light of the recent events, we're curious. what do the police officers do to ensure safety for large crowd events?
Well, I mean, for us, for different large-scale events, what we like to do is first do as much pre-planning for an event before the event actually takes place. So for us, we like to take a look at the event, any potential risks that come from the event, and look at what can we do to potentially reduce those risks so that everyone can enjoy whatever event that they're attending.
Okay, and so what kind of training do you guys do prior to events like this? Events where there's large amounts of people, big groups of people, events that potentially could be dangerous. What do you do training-wise? How do you get guys prepared or officers prepared for those kind of events?
So for us, we'd like to do a lot of training ahead of time. So during our slower times of the year, we'd like to do a lot of emergency preparedness exercises. A couple years ago, we had a couple of exercises where we included local law enforcement and state law enforcement in larger scale events where there was a problem that occurred at that event, and then we would look at the different operations that we have and assess each of those operations and what we would be doing at those, with those different operations.
Okay, and for future reference, for God forbid if this ever happened to anyone, what would be like advice or tips that you as an officer would give people that might be in a situation like that might be in a large crowd when it is, attacked?
Well, I mean, to always be aware of your surroundings, to make sure that if something does happen, that you get to a safe place and then move away from the threat wherever that threat may be. So if that means to shelter in place, that may be what you need to do. If it means to run, you may need to do that. And if it means just going to another location so that you can get away from whatever the threat is, that's what you would need to do.
And as for right now, you guys, is there any kind of threat that you guys are worried about at all right now for any future, event that might be happening on campus or anything else?
Well, we're always aware of what's happening in the news. I mean, in light of everything that's happened in Las Vegas, it's something that we always look at. And when we look at those things, how could we better our operation here in light of those events? So we will always take into account those events, and then if there's something we can do better, we'll do so.
All right. Thank you for joining us. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Back to you guys at the desk.
Meanwhile, some of the homecoming festivities already kicked off earlier this week. Chris Tesserolo has more on Monday's rally.
Students gathered in NIU's Central Park to kick off Homecoming Week with a rally sponsored by the Campus Activities Board. A DJ welcomed students and encouraged people passing by to join the event. Food was donated by various local businesses for participants of the rally.
NIU is one big family, so we just embrace that throughout this week. So kickoff rally, we got food from Buffalo Wild Wings, Jimmy John's, Papa John's. We got donations from them, they're coming in. And it's just a great event for the campus to come together.
NIU spirit teams, including the Silverettes and cheerleaders, also attended the rally performing for the students. And Mission the Husky even made a guest appearance of his own.
Exciting time to be back here for homecoming. For the Silverettes, all of our alumni come back. There's usually 60 to 70 girls who come and perform for us, and it's just cool to see everybody come back to their second home, and we can all celebrate homecoming week together.
Students were able to relax with their friends and enjoy the music after a day of classes while also learning about the various other homecoming activities offered across campus that take place this week.
It's really cool just to hear everyone's experiences and see how things have evolved over periods of time.
The final homecoming event is this Saturday at 2:30 when NIU takes on Kent State in the stadium. For NTC News, I'm Chris Tesserolo.
The other events to keep an eye out for include Friday's Coronation Cookout and a lip-syncing competition. Tailgate activities will take place around the stadium before Saturday's game.
If you plan on going to tonight's homecoming parade, let's take a quick look at today's weather.
Well, there's rain coming in on the way. Bring your umbrellas for the homecoming parade because it might just hit while you're out there watching. As far as the weekend goes, there's more rain to come, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Back to you guys.
Coming up next on NTC News.
5 Democratic candidates for governor face off.
And NIU students and faculty are lending a helping hand to the victims of Hurricane Harvey and Maria.
You made this vacation happen, cleverly merging promotions,
double points with every purchase,
and cross-referencing travel sites. Aloha! If you can ace your vacation, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
5 Democratic candidates for governor were on campus earlier this week, making their case for your vote. Candidates Daniel Biss, Bob Diber, Tio Hardiman, Chris Kennedy, and Alex Paterakis are among those vying for the state's top job. The topics of discussion included the income tax and fixing the state's economy. All the candidates slammed Governor Bruce Rauner and called for immediate change.
Marijuana legalization was another hot topic discussed at the debate. Tio Hardiman still had some concerns about the matter.
As in recreational use of marijuana, I support the process, but I would like to tweak the particular bill to make sure that we understand that marijuana, alcohol, and tobacco are gateway drugs that people use before they start using higher level drugs.
Primaries for the gubernatorial races will be held March 20th. Other Democratic candidates included J.B. Pritzker and Amaya Pawar. Governor Rauner is not seeking re-election. The shooting in Las Vegas brings the topic of gun control back to the forefront. Plus, President Trump draws criticism over tweets regarding Puerto Rico. Carl Reevy has more in this week's political pit stop.
Thanks. Debate over gun control is renewed after Monday's mass shooting. Democrats and Republicans are voicing starkly different opinions after 64-year-old Stephen Paddock gunned down concertgoers with an automatic weapon. Police recovered at least 19 firearms from his hotel room. Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren spoke out on Twitter saying thoughts and prayers are, quote, not enough. Meanwhile, Republicans are accusing Democrats of politicizing the tragedy. Political experts say there's little incentive for lawmakers on Capitol Hill to budge on Second Amendment policies. President Donald Trump is praising his administration's response to Hurricane Maria that devastated much of Puerto Rico. He visited the island on Tuesday. Trump said jokingly during the visit that the devastation has thrown the nation's budget, quote, a bit out of whack. He called the 16-person death toll very low compared to what it could have been. Trump faced harsh criticism after tweeting Saturday that Puerto Ricans want everything done for them, when it should be a community effort. John Huntsman is named the new U.S. ambassador to Russia. A Kremlin spokesman says that they hope the new ambassador can help restore U.S. and Russian relations after years of tensions. Huntsman is the former governor of Utah and was the ambassador to China during President Obama's tenure. Republicans are pushing forward with tax reform this week. They're vying to pass a measure with only 51 Senate votes. A sticking point of the GOP plan includes eliminating state and local tax deductions, which are normally written off on federal returns. That change would benefit those who live in high-tax regions. The proposal also slashes the corporate tax rate from 35% to 20%. It's been more than 3 decades since Washington succeeded with comprehensive tax reform. That's it for this week's Political Pit Stop. Back to you guys.
An NIU professor is organizing a service trip to help Hurricane Maria victims in Puerto Rico. Professor Laura Ruth Johnson is asking members of the NIU community to assist in cleanup and rebuilding efforts. The trip was planned for winter break. Meanwhile, the College of Education raised $1,100 to send to Houston to help Hurricane Harvey victims in just 4 days. They hosted bake sales and placed donation jars throughout the college. College of Education Dean Lori Ellish Piper matched the total, resulting in a $2,200 donation.
NIU Faculty Senate members are concerned about the proposed salary increase for employees. Acting President Lisa Freeman called for a 3% raise during her State of the University address. Tenured and tenure-track faculty are bargaining with the university for the salary increase and new contracts. The administration said at one point that they might give faculty a raise if they pledge not to strike or ask for more raises this fiscal year, which concerns some senators. The United Faculty Alliance hopes to have a new contract by the end of the academic year.
Students are scheduled to protest the removal of dining hall guest passes at 4 o'clock today outside of Newhall. Students used to get 10 guest passes per semester, but now guest passes are required to pay the fee. The university decided to cut guest passes because of high costs and low usage. Guest passes have been replaced by family passes, which allow immediate family members access only if students fill out a form 24 hours before they arrive. The Stevens Building has a potential completion date for the spring semester, but certain wings in the building may open sooner. Redesign of the building includes the remodel of an existing wing and the additional of a new wing. The early opening depends on the completion of air conditioning and heating systems. The project is behind schedule because of the year-long delay during the fiscal year 2016.
It's been a busy week for students, and homecoming week is coming to a close.
Caitlin, how's the weather looking for the weekend?
Well, for this weekend, I can tell you that there is definitely rain in the forecast. As far as today goes, the temperatures have been in the upper 60s, low 70s, right around that 69, 70 degree Fahrenheit today. Winds have been pretty calm in the partly cloudy skies, and rain will come in. So if you plan on going to the homecoming parade, make sure you bring that umbrella just to be safe. As far as tonight goes, the clouds will come in even more. There's a 90% chance of rain with east-southeast winds up to 5 to 10 miles an hour. The low tonight will be 62 degrees, but with that rain, it could feel a little chillier, so make sure you have that umbrella and that jacket for that homecoming parade tonight, Huskies. For tomorrow, the clouds will stay. They're talking thunderstorms earlier in the morning and dying down to steady rain as the afternoon goes on. There's an 80% chance of rain, 69 as the high, with southeast winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Going into Friday night, the clouds, of course, will stay, with a 50% chance of rain and a low of 63. Winds will be about coming out of the south at 10 to 20 miles an hour, which could make things feel a little warmer since they're coming from the south. Going into Saturday, which is homecoming football game day, it'll be cloudy, which will be nice. You won't have that sun beating on you all day. It'll start raining harder in the morning, dying down as the game continues, so that's good. Just have that umbrella just to be safe, Huskies. Chance of rain for Saturday is 60%, dying down as the night goes on. South-southwest winds 20 to 30 miles an hour with a 74 degree as your high. Saturday night is partly cloudy with a 10% chance of rain, low of 56 with west-southwest winds 10 to 20 miles an hour. Going into Sunday, the sun will come out, only 10% chance of rain, will be warm at 76 with 5 to 10 miles an hour gust of winds. Sunday night, partly cloudy, only 10% chance of rain, light winds with a low of 58. And as far as the weekday forecast, we have a high of 69 on Friday, a high of 74 on Saturday, a 76 and sunny on Sunday. That'll be a nice end of the weekend. Monday with a 50% chance of rain with 74 degrees. Tuesday 69 degrees as a high. Wednesday with a 63 degree as your high, and Thursday with a 66 degree as your high. And that's your weekly forecast, Huskies. Back to you guys.
An NIU communications professor continues to screen his first feature-length film on a theater program for special needs children. Randy Kasparian's film, Go Penguins, was shown as part of NIU's Diversity Dialogue series. The program pairs up children with a disability with mentors of the same age. One of those children is Daniel. He's the son of the NIU's Marketing and Communications Assistant Director, Joe King. After the presentation, both King and Kasparian took questions from the audience. Kasparian says he was motivated to make the documentary because he wanted to tell the story of someone who might not be able to tell their own.
I'm always attracted to sort of unheard voices, whether it's women, LGBT community, and so it kind of was in that wheelhouse, like let's see something we don't usually see, let's shine a light on these group of kids.
The documentary will remain on the festival scene before making any plans for commercial availability.
Coming up next on NTC News.
NIU football begins conference play.
And trash becomes treasure in the annual recycled boat race.
You made her college years possible, opening that education savings account when she was little, spearheading campus tours, and deciphering financial aid. If you can ace planning for college, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org. You made your house a reality. Homeschooling yourself on loans, color-coding listings, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. If you can ace house hunting, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
Some drinks!
Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be?
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to savethefood.com.
After a big week in NIU sports, we are back and it's time to move over to the Sports Hub with NTC sports reporter Adam Carr.
Thanks, guys. We had a pretty busy week in sports as we look to highlight some key performances. Let's kick it off with some NIU football. The football team begins conference play Saturday against Kent State and looks to rebound from their loss to the San Diego State Aztecs last weekend. The Huskies had 4 turnovers and gave up a touchdown on the opening kickoff return. Aztecs running back Jawan Washington returned the ball for 96 yards to make it 6-0 right away. The Huskies are hoping redshirt senior tailback Jordan Huff will continue his solid play. Huff is averaging over 126 yards a game in his last 2 outings. Sophomore Daniel Santa Catarina will be the starting quarterback for the 4th straight game and is 2-1 as the Huskies starter this season. Game time at Husky Stadium is set for 2:30 p.m. Central Time. The women's soccer team defeated the Miami Redhawks 2-1 in overtime at home to even up their conference record at 2-2. The Huskies opened the scoring with a goal from freshman forward Haley Hope. It was Hope's 3rd goal of the season. Huskies moved the ball well and kept it close until Redhawks evened it up from a goal on the Madison knock. The Redhawks forced overtime. 2 minutes into overtime period, senior midfielder Allie Ingham scores her 2nd goal of the season to give the Huskies the win. The Huskies return to action Sunday at Ball State. The men's soccer team took on the Valparaiso Crusaders in their final match before MAC conference play begins. The Huskies were on the attack early, but weren't able to get past the Valparaiso defense for the first half. The Crusaders controlled the ball for the majority of the game, and in the 19th minute, freshman Jonas Engler scored the opening goal. The Huskies were able to bounce back thanks to redshirt sophomore goalkeeper Conrad Ziedzik, who made 3 diving saves at the end of the first half. But in the end, the Crusaders' offense was much too much, and the Huskies fall by a score of 3-2. NIU opens MAC conference play Saturday when they head to West Virginia to take on the Mountaineers. Leadership is something earned, not given. Let's find out which record-setting athlete goes above and beyond in this week's Leader of the Pack.
NIU senior goalkeeper Amy Anola has grown into a leader throughout her time as a Husky. At the goalkeeper position, Amy has the eyes of the entire team, and she uses that vision to be vocal with her teammates to point out exactly what's happening across the soccer field. Through this role, Amy
the MAC Championship.
NIU senior goalkeeper Amy Anola has grown into a leader throughout her time as a Husky. At the goalkeeper position, Amy has the eyes of the entire team, and she uses that vision to be vocal with her teammates to point out exactly what's happening across the soccer field. Through this role, Amy has gained a solid understanding of what being a leader really means.
I think you've got to be responsible, you've got to hold yourself accountable, be able to hold your teammates accountable, and I think you've got to be just open to new ideas, and really you've got to be able to take what everybody else has to say and help try to implement that into the program rather than saying, this is what I want to do, so I'm going to do it.
Amy has improved every season throughout her career as a Husky, and is now second all-time in saves in NIU women's soccer history. She is also one of 3 ladies to record at least 300 saves in their career. Aside from her individual accomplishments, it was when Amy was sidelined to injury last season where she showed her greatest leadership skills in the eyes of head coach John Ross.
Last year, Amy went down, and she helped Mackie prepare. She helped, Mackie throughout the year with training and being positive and being a big support for her, and it showed. Mackie was able to get in there and show what she can do as well.
Amy has also proven to be a leader not only on the field, but also in the classroom, as she was named to the academic All-MAC team, and was one of 50 NIU athletes recognized as a MAC Distinguished Scholar Athlete for the 2016-17 school year, with a 4.0 GPA. Amy also represented the MAC at an NCAA Leadership Forum in Baltimore last year. Through this success, Amy has learned how to balance school with athletics.
It can be tough sometimes, but I mean, we all do it. Just whenever you've got free time, you're studying for that test tomorrow. That's what I was just running from taking a quiz. So I don't know, just whenever you've got free time, you've got to think ahead, like what can I do to be ahead for next week, because we missed class for traveling and everything. So just trying to stay ahead and using that free time wisely.
Amy's success not only on the soccer field, but also in the classroom, leave her as this week's Leader of the Pack. For NTC News, I'm Mateo Avila.
And Amy joined us yesterday to talk about the team's hopes to make it back to the MAC Championship.
Some injuries. You had a great year, but you had to miss the end of the season, including the MAC Championship. Are you using that as any kind of motivation to get back to the MAC Championship this season?
Definitely, yeah. That was most of my motivation this summer, too, getting back, was I wanted to make my last year count because I knew what I missed out on last year, and watching everybody out on the field during the MAC Championship game was so cool to see, just the excitement and the competitive drive everybody had, and I wanted to be a part of that. So I'm hoping that we'll get there again this year.
You can catch the entire interview tomorrow on Top Shelf Sports. October baseball is back as the Chicago Cubs begin the NLDS Friday against the Washington Nationals. The Cubs will turn to Kyle Hendricks in Game 1 of the series after a strong second-half performance where he went 3-2 with a 2.19 ERA. In his last start, Hendricks went 5 innings and struck out 9 against the Cardinals in a game where the Cubs had 3 catchers in the starting lineup. The Washington Nationals will send out flame-throwing right-hander Steven Strasburg. The big question for both teams, however, is the health of starting pitching. Jake Arrieta will not be available to start for the Cubs until Game 4 if necessary, and the Nationals have not yet made a decision on when Cy Young frontrunner Max Scherzer will start. Scherzer hurt his hamstring in the final start of the season. Game 1 is tomorrow, with Game 2 on Saturday and Game 3 on Monday at Wrigley Field. Chicago Bears have named first-round draft pick Mitchell Trubisky starting quarterback for the upcoming Monday Night Football matchup against the Minnesota Vikings. After a 1-3 start to the season, Coach John Fox pulled the plug on Mike Glennon, who is riding an inconsistent start with 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and 5 fumbles. Chicago Bears fans are hoping Trubisky will give the Bears a spark and a glimpse into a bright future. Coach John Fox decided Trubisky was ready to step in under center for the Bears. Coach Fox also said he was thankful for Glennon's hard work. The Vikings come into Monday night with a record of 2-2. Kickoff is set for 7:30 p.m. It's that time of year again as the Blackhawks season opener tonight against the reigning Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins. The Hawks finished the preseason 4-2, including a 1-0 win Saturday against the Boston Bruins and 2 wins against their original 6 rival Detroit Red Wings. Corey Crawford will be in the net for the Blackhawks and looks to have another strong season. Brent Seabrook leads the defense for the Hawks. The Penguins are coming off their banner ceremony yesterday in a loss to St. Louis. They are led by captain Sidney Crosby, who makes a nice pass here to Justin Schultz for the goal. Puck drop is set for 7:30 at the United Center. The NBA preseason is in full swing as the Bulls took on the Dallas Mavericks. From the get-go, the Bulls struggled to defend the jump shot. Not only were they giving up uncontested mid-range jump shots, they were also vulnerable to the open three from the Dallas shooters. From the second quarter on, the Mavericks pulled away from Chicago and never let them back in the game. Paul Zipser led the way with the Bulls with 12 points, but it wasn't enough, as Dallas wins convincingly 118-71. Thank goodness it's only preseason. That'll be it for NTC Sports. I am Adam Carr, and as always, go Huskies. Let's send it back to the desk.
Students set sail during the annual recycled boat race. The captains of the recyclable vessels hit the water as teams paddled their way across East Lagoon on Northern Illinois University's campus. Some of the boats stayed afloat, while some captains took a swim after their vessels tipped over. Whether afloat or on land, teams took pride in their designed boats.
I believe it's the creativity from making the boat out of recycled material. It has to be 70% recyclable, and 30% could be like tape or something like that.
As teams struggled with the endurance needed for the races, other competitors watched and waited for their shot to prove that their capsules were the best out there. The winning vessel used the backwards row technique as fans cheered them on. The boat's captain says the maneuver was a mid-race adjustment.
So we ended up getting stuck. We beached on the backside of the island, and our boat flipped around. So instead of trying to right itself, because it kept on getting caught, we decided to just turn it around and paddle backwards. It actually worked better than going forward, so we ended up sticking with that.
The adjustment proved helpful as it helped secure the Resident Hall Association's win.
It feels pretty awesome, especially representing RHA. We haven't won a lot of things in first place, and finally getting a win on the boat race, let alone first place, is an awesome experience.
That's it for our show. NTC News Tonight is produced and directed by students here at Northern Illinois University.
In collaboration with WNIJ, we're going to leave you now with Captain Wales and the Harpoon singing Neon Lights. It will air Thursday night at 7 on 89.5 FM and WNIJ.org. Have a great day, everyone, and as always, go